Welcome to the Center for Student Learning Study Skills Workshop, Spring Back from Spring Break. My name is Melissa Hortman and I am the Study Skills Coordinator in the Center for Student Learning, and I will be speaking today for this presentation. Half of the semester is over. You're just now coming back from a whole week off of classes, and the semester will now be over before you know it. In this workshop, we will discuss the last bit of motivation you will need to get through the rest of the semester, how to work smarter and not harder, and how to develop a plan with rewards for the remainder of the semester. First, we will discuss what will and motivation mean to you. Have you ever wondered what it was that made you do what you do? Was it motivation, will, self-discipline? If you look at the image on the right, you will see that it takes a bit of each of these characteristics to do what you do. If you only have one or two characteristics, you may find that what you do can become all pain and pleasure and correction, or all choice and correction. That happy place in the middle shows that it takes all three of these characteristics to help you find the will to choose what you will do, motivation to get you through what you do, and self-discipline to continue on the right path of what you do. You can see in the left image that the characteristic of motivation is broken down for you and put into an equation with expectancy times instrumentality times valence equals motivation. We will talk about each of these pieces to motivation later in this presentation, but keep in mind this equation as we see how all of these pieces to motivation fit together. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. This is a quote by Zig Ziglar that I feel is telling of what motivation is. Think about the connection between this quote and motivation for a moment. You need a dose of motivation each day, especially when you're getting back into the swing of classes after spring break, and when you find you are beginning to burn out at week 14 before final exams begin. Remember, why you do what you do has to be worth the pain and pleasure it will take to get through it, so having that daily motivation is needed to remind you of this reason. Take a moment to locate the motivation, finding your core motivators for college handout on the Center for Student Learning's website. First, take a moment to write out what your personal definition of success is. You may find that your definition of success is very different from the dictionary or another person's definition, and this is a good thing. Your definition should be something personal to you and a way for you to say, what is success? Next, take some time to work through the numbering of the list of statements 1 through 10, with 1 being the most like you. Once you have done this, look at the letters at the end of each statement and find those letters that you labeled as your number 1 statement. That is where you find your core motivation, and you may relate to one or more of the core motivators on the list. In the next few slides, we will go over each of these core motivators. Behavior motivators are mostly described as reward motivation. You may be motivated by tangible consequences such as grades, extra credit, or a paycheck. However, once these rewards come, they need to continue for those motivated by behaviors to continue their behavior. Behavior motivators can also include social rewards from others, such as praise, smiles, and enjoying pleasing others. These people find that they get a rush and positive feeling from encouraging and helping other people. Although behavior motivators are looking to reward themselves through their actions, they are also looking to help other people but need to feel appreciated in this aspect. Cognitive motivators find that thoughts impact their behavior. Like if they think positive, positive things will happen. Using thoughts to motivate these people, they find thoughts are changeable so they can control their motivation very quickly, but it can also become a more emotional process. With this being a more emotional and thinking behavior, they see that desire and self-efficacy are also intertwined in being the foundation of cognition as a motivator. Thinking and feeling directly impact behavior for people who find this to be their core motivator. Humanistic motivators focus on the idea of needs and potential in life. This motivation is the belief in one's ability to grow, reach their potential, and achieve their goals. There is something innate in this type of motivation where you believe and feel that there is more out there for you, there is more you can achieve, and you can push yourself to do more. Everyone may feel a bit of social motivation in college since it is such a social environment. While we are such social beings, we tend to be motivated by others, whether it is your family, friends, mentors, or your professor. With being so heavily influenced by those around us, be sure to surround yourself with a positive support system. This support system can be a huge factor in your college success when times get hard or you need some encouragement. In this aspect, movies or quotes can be a source of motivation. Have you ever watched a movie and felt inspired or empowered? Be conscious of what you are watching, reading, and the people you are surrounding yourself with if social motivators can be an aspect of your core motivation. Sometimes it is hard to find the mindset and motivation you need to finish out the semester with receiving midterm grades, being burnt out from school, and having a hard time getting back into the swing of things. It may be useful to change your mindset when it comes to finding and continuing the motivation you need to finish out the semester. First, you should really think back to the reason why you decided to come to college and the importance of the college degree you will receive. From this, begin to think about ways to develop intrinsic motivation, which means finding motivation from internal rewards instead of outside rewards, especially when dealing with schoolwork. Look for those barriers and patterns when developing intrinsic motivation and reasons why you may be having a difficult time with motivation. Finally, one of the most important things you can do is to see the success you have already accomplished thus far. Too often we look at all of the negative happenings and do not take time to focus on all the great things we have accomplished while on our journey. These points can help you change your thinking to hopefully overcome any challenges you may be having as you spring back from spring break. At this point in the semester, you should know what is working and what is not working for you to be productive in each of your classes, as well as in your studying outside of class. Here are a few tips if you are still struggling to make things easier on yourself. The first point is to minimize distractions and other things you have to say no to. This way you are not tempted to be pulled away from your work or not even able to sit and focus on what you have in front of you. The second point to make things easier on yourself is to make notes on your progress at the end of each study session or day, so when you come back to what you were doing, it is easier to pick right up where you left off. You are doing so many different things. This point can help you know exactly where you are in each of them without having to remember minor things like that as you are studying other material. The last point is to plan a time to make a plan. A plan can be one of the most valuable assets as you are overloaded with different assignments for each class and so many things in your day you cannot simply remember everything. Making time to plan can help alleviate stress associated with feeling overwhelmed with everything just in your head, as well as being sure you have enough time in your day to get everything accomplished. In the next slide, we will look at how to make a plan that works. The most important aspect of making a plan is that you set the plan, you create it, and you manage it. You should know your schedule and obligations by this point in the semester, and you should also know what has been your challenges, such as procrastinating, napping, only starting your work for the day after 9 p.m., or being overloaded with too many other things besides school. Be sure to figure out a way to challenge these habits and overcome some of the habits setting you back in being successful. Once the schedule is made, you can make changes to your plan accordingly as new ideas or events come up. It is much easier to make adjustments to an already made schedule than to kind of just go through your day with whatever comes up next. Finally, take all of your syllabi for your classes and put all of your big assignments on your calendar. Then begin to backdate smaller deadlines for yourself. This way you can break down large tasks while also making sure you are completing assignments on time to get help if you need it and produce work with lower stress than the night before. One of the fun ways to keep yourself alert while studying is to create little rewards for yourself. Try placing a gummy bear at the end of each page. With this, you are slowing yourself down to think about what you just read, synthesize it, and get a bit of sugar before you move on to the next page. These are little fun ways to create rewards for yourself as you are studying. The last piece of finding motivation is to just get started. It really is the first 5 minutes that is the most difficult to get into and continue your work. It is true that it is the hardest to get started for a lot of people. One of the ways to overcome this challenge is to prioritize tasks so you can regulate your focus as you begin and go through tasks. Such as, if you know you have a hard time doing your math homework online, put that task after your theater homework that is maybe easier to get started on and get through so you can ease right into your math after you have momentum going. Another way to overcome finding momentum or burning out on tasks is by limiting time on each task as to not hit a wall or slow down as you move through tasks. A good goal would be to set an alarm to go off every 30 minutes so you can move on to the next task at that point. Finally, simply developing habits of just getting started is the best idea. If you can decrease the number of times you have to decide to study, you can get over that hump faster the next time around. Here's a scenario I want to propose for you to think about, focusing on whether to start with easy tasks or with difficult tasks. Starting with the small, easy tasks will help you gain momentum and feel accomplished, which can lead to further productivity. On the other hand, getting the biggest, hardest task out of the way early will make the rest of your tasks seem easier, which would work for you. This answer will change from person to person, so be sure you have your reasons on why you choose one or the other, because you can waste a lot of time just getting started, as you can see in the image on the right side of the screen. That concludes the Spring Back from Spring Break workshop. If you have any further questions about this workshop or the content, please come to or contact the Center for Student Learning at 843-953-5635. We are located on the first floor of the Addlestone Library off of Calhoun Street and are also mobile at csl.cfc.edu. Please take a look at our other videos available for other topics and handouts as a resource. We hope to see you in the CSL soon.